The Pentagon just issued a rare public warning to one of America's closest allies. Canada's latest fighter jet decision has triggered a diplomatic earthquake that could reshape North American defense forever. What you're about to discover will shock you about the hidden war happening between these two nations. Let's dive in. In December 2022, Canada made a bombshell announcement that sent shockwaves through the Pentagon. After decades of delays and political drama, Ottawa finally committed to purchasing 88 F-35 Lightning II fighter jets from Lockheed Martin. But here's where it gets interesting. While this might sound like Canada chose the American option, the devil is in the details that nobody's talking about. The deal, worth a staggering 19 billion Canadian dollars, came with strings attached that have U.S. military planners losing sleep. Canada negotiated unprecedented industrial benefits, demanding that a significant portion of the manufacturing and maintenance be performed on Canadian soil. They essentially strong-armed the Pentagon into technology transfers that previous allies never secured. But wait, there's more. Canada simultaneously announced they'd be exploring partnerships with European defense contractors for avionics upgrades and weapon systems integration. This dual-track approach essentially told Washington, "We'll buy your jets, but on our terms, not yours." The Canadian government framed this as sovereignty and economic development. The Pentagon saw it as betrayal. And the timing? Absolutely calculated. Canada announced this while the U.S. was distracted with Ukraine and Taiwan tensions, knowing Washington couldn't afford another allied crisis. Behind closed doors, Pentagon officials are seething, and leaked cables reveal just how deep this anger runs. Senior U.S. defense officials have called Canada's approach unacceptable leverage and exploiting the alliance for economic gain. But their fury goes far beyond hurt feelings. The Pentagon's primary concern centers on NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command. This binational organization has protected both countries since 1958, and it requires seamless integration between American and Canadian forces. When Canada demands separate supply chains, unique software modifications, and independent maintenance facilities, it creates operational nightmares that could cost lives during a real crisis. Then there's the intelligence dimension. The F-35 isn't just a fighter jet. It's a flying supercomputer loaded with America's most classified technology. Every modification Canada makes, every foreign contractor they involve, creates potential security vulnerabilities. U.S. intelligence agencies have explicitly warned that European partners in Canada's upgrade program could inadvertently expose classified systems to Chinese or Russian espionage. But here's what really triggered Washington's meltdown. Canada is setting a precedent. If a founding NATO member can dictate terms on American weapon systems, what's stopping Poland, Australia, or Japan from making similar demands? The Pentagon fears losing control over its entire foreign military sales empire. Now, you might be thinking Canada did choose the F-35, so what's the problem? Here's what the media isn't telling you. Canada initially rejected the F-35 back in 2012 under intense political pressure. For nearly a decade, they flirted with alternatives that made the Pentagon's blood boil. Canada seriously considered the Swedish Gripen, the French Rafale, and even explored a dark horse Canadian-European hybrid design. Each option represented a potential catastrophe for U.S. strategic interests. Imagine Canadian fighters unable to communicate with American jets during an Arctic intercept of Russian bombers. Picture incompatible data links during a joint mission over the North Atlantic. The U.S. offered Canada sweetheart deals on the F-35, including priority delivery slots and reduced prices that weren't available to other allies. American negotiators promised extensive work-share agreements and technology partnerships, but Canada played hardball, using these offers as leverage while keeping alternatives on the table. What drove Washington absolutely crazy was Canada's public comparison shopping. They turned American military equipment into a commodity, openly pitting U.S. contractors against European rivals in the media. This broke an unwritten rule. Close allies don't publicly humiliate each other's defense industries. Canada didn't just break that rule. They shattered it deliberately. This fighter jet drama reveals a seismic shift in North American relations that goes way beyond aircraft. Canada is testing the limits of American patience at the worst possible moment in history, and the implications are staggering. First, there's the Arctic factor. Climate change is opening new shipping routes and exposing vast resource deposits in the far north. Both Russia and China are dramatically increasing their Arctic presence, building bases, and deploying advanced weapon systems. The U.S. desperately needs Canada as a united front in Arctic defense, but Canada's independent procurement strategy creates coordination gaps that adversaries could exploit. NATO interoperability is also crumbling. The alliance's strength comes from standardized equipment and seamless joint operations. When Canada customizes American jets with European systems, it creates a Frankenstein aircraft that doesn't fully integrate with anyone. During a crisis, communication delays and technical incompatibilities could prove fatal. Then there's the Five Eyes intelligence partnership, the most exclusive spy club on Earth. Trust is the currency of intelligence sharing, and Canada's willingness to involve non-Five Eyes contractors in F-35 modifications has raised red flags in Langley and Fort Meade. Some U.S. intelligence officials are quietly advocating for reduced information sharing with Ottawa until security concerns are addressed. The fallout from this decision is just beginning, and what comes next could redefine Allied relations for generations. Pentagon insiders are already planning countermeasures that Canada hasn't seen coming. First, expect quiet retaliation through defense contracts. American companies will mysteriously lose interest in Canadian partnerships. Technology transfer applications will face endless delays. Security clearances for Canadian personnel will be slow-walked through bureaucracy. The U.S. won't announce these measures. They'll just happen. Second, watch for changes in NORAD command structure. There's serious discussion in Washington about reducing Canadian leadership roles and limiting information sharing on the most sensitive programs. If Canada wants independence, the Pentagon is prepared to give them exactly that, complete with all the isolation it brings. Third, other allies are watching closely. Australia, South Korea, and Poland are already approaching their own F-35 negotiations differently, emboldened by Canada's tactics. This could trigger a domino effect that fundamentally restructures American defense exports, forcing the Pentagon to either accept reduced control or risk losing allies to European and Asian competitors. Most concerning, this fighter jet fight is exposing deeper cracks in the Western alliance at precisely the moment when China and Russia are probing for weaknesses. Canada may have won the battle, but the war for Allied unity is just beginning. Canada's fighter jet decision isn't just about aircraft, it's about power, sovereignty, and the future of military alliances. The Pentagon's anger reveals a harsh truth. Even the closest friendships have breaking points, and we're about to discover where that line is drawn. What do you think? Did Canada make the right move or push too far? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more military intelligence breakdowns.